Good morning, everyone. Boker Tov. In this week's Torah portion, it talks about the leaders of the tribes who gave the 12 gems for the breastplate of the high priest. But the Torah tells us that they made one big mistake. When it came time to contribute, they said to Moses, let everyone else give whatever they can, and whatever is missing, the shortfall, the deficit, at the end, we will supplement. We will balance the budget for the contributions of the Mishkan. Well, we know that the Jewish people gave more than was needed, and Moses had to halt the contributions and say, we're no longer accepting donations for the building of the tabernacle. But then the Nesiim, the 12 leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel, said, what are we to give? We're going to be left out of giving for the Mishkan. We want to participate as well. So Moses said, well, we have all the donations we need for the tabernacle, but you could give the stones for the breastplate of the high priest. The question is, after all, they made a very generous offer. Every rabbi would be thrilled if one of his congregants said, listen, do the best you can, raise whatever you can, I'll give whatever's missing. Why is this a fault on their part? And the answer is very obvious, and I think every rabbi knows the answer to this as well, or every fundraiser. You see, if they were ordinary people, members of the community, if a member of the community says, I'll pay whatever's missing in the budget for the building, for the construction, that would be amazing. But when you're a Nasi, when you're a leader, that's a whole different story. Why? Because everyone looks to the leader and says, well, what are they giving? What are they doing? And they follow their lead and their example. And so for a regular person to say, I'll give at the end, that's great. But when you're a leader, yes, balance the budget at the end if you're a leader. That's wonderful too. But also give up front to lead the way, to inspire others, to set an example for others. Because if you're a leader, people are going to look to you. And here we find something very interesting. The word Nisiim, leaders, and the word Anashim, which is ordinary people, is comprised of the exact same 5 letters. If you rearrange the letters of Anashim, you have Nisiim. But here's an interesting fact. The difference is that Nisiim begins with the letter Nun. Now the letter Nun in Hebrew represents the word Nofel, falling. A matter of fact, in the Ashrei prayer that King David composed in the book of Psalms that we say 3 times a day, it's such an important prayer, there is no verse that starts with the letter Nun. It first says, Malchutcha Malchut Kol Omim, your kingdom is the kingdom of all worlds. And then it goes to Somech Hashem L'chol HaNoflim. God supports all those who have fallen, Noflim. But although the prayer is arranged by the alphabet letters, every letter has a verse, there's no letter for Nun, because King David didn't want to write a letter for the word Nun, Nofel, falling. But he did allude to it by saying God supports all those who fall, L'chol HaNoflim. Why is the letter Nun the first letter of Nasi, someone who is a leader? Because King Solomon, the son of King David, says, Sheva Yipol Tzadik V'kam. A righteous person falls 7 times and gets up. The trait of a righteous person is not that he doesn't fall, but he gets back up again. Not once, not twice, but 7 times. And typically we understand this verse to mean that he's a getter-upper. He doesn't stay down. He has persistence. As Winston Churchill said, the definition of success is going from failure to failure without any loss of enthusiasm. But there's another way to understand this verse. Not that the trait of a tzaddik is that he gets back up, but precisely because he has fallen time and again, that's why he became a righteous person. Because sometimes we learn the most and we grow the most through that, through our failures, through our setbacks, through our disappointments, through our challenges and our struggles. When we fall, we learn and we grow and become more righteous as a result of that. And therefore the tzaddik has fallen many times, and that's precisely why he became a tzaddik, a righteous person. This Shabbat, Palm Beach Synagogue is going to have a great honor. We're welcoming 2 very distinguished guests to Palm Beach, 2 former hostages. Beautiful couple, Sapir Cohn and her boyfriend, Sasha Trufanov. Sapir was released last year from captivity, and Sasha just got out a few weeks ago. And this is their first trip abroad. They're coming to Palm Beach Synagogue for Shabbat. We met them in Israel, and we invited them, and they're coming. And on Sunday, they're going to speak at the Women's Spa for the Soul, which you can still get tickets for, and sign up to meet them and hear them speak and tell their story. But when we met with this beautiful couple, we saw a love that is not of this world. No one has the love that they have, as you could understand. They waited for each other for 15 months in captivity. They prayed and yearned, and you see the joy and the love between them. It's indescribable. Because they fell into the hardest circumstances, captivity, being taken hostage, their life was hanging in the balance. And you see them interact, and it's such a beautiful sight to behold. And so, for example, Sasha, when he came out, he said that I prayed every day that Sapir would find another man and fall in love with him, because I didn't want her to spend her whole life waiting for me. Who knows if I'm ever going to get out of captivity? That kind of selfless thought and love only builds the most tremendous love between the two of them, between this beautiful couple. And the same thing is true with Sapir. Her love for Sasha is indescribable as well. And she told us, I mentioned her that I saw her last summer at a JLI retreat in Miami at the Doral Hotel. And she came to speak about the plight of the hostages. And she was staying in the room right next to Dini and I met her there. And I said, do you remember we met? And she said, I'll never forget that Shabbat. She said, I was in the most beautiful hotel in Miami, and I couldn't enjoy a moment, because all I could think is, I wish I was here with Sasha. I wish he was here with me to enjoy this. This love, this selfless devotion, how Sapir was going around talking about the plight of Sasha, fighting for his release, while he was thinking about her. And I pray that I will merit to be at their wedding, to see the most joyous wedding as they get married, because every wedding is joyous, but their wedding will be beyond belief. Why? Because they fell into captivity, they were abducted, they went through such hardships, and they got back up on their feet again, and they're reunited and together. That's what makes it the greatest love of all. And so the Nasiim have to lead, set an example. Every person, if you want to be a leader, whether in your family, or in your community, or in the world, be the first, step up, show an example for others. And when you face challenges and disappointment, know that it's precisely those challenges that if you get back up, they will make you into greater leaders, and they will bring out your full potential. Have a wonderful day.